Whoa, I didn't realize that Control 5 was like a switch between tabs button. That's weird because I'd think it'd be Control 4 that switches to the left, and then Control 6 that switches to the right because that's what I'm using for my hotkeys for the numpad, but okay, anyway, enough of that. Hey, this is Jonathan, and I decided to actually revise some of the, I guess, specs for the game. I got some new ideas today when I was just thinking, I guess, and here's what I've come up with. I've decided that I actually kind of like the ricochet mechanic from We Play Tanks, and I think I actually want to keep that. So, for those who don't know, this is basically if you have a wall, you can shoot it and then your shot will bounce off of it, but only once. It only bounces off one wall. If it hits another wall or it hits an enemy or something, it just disappears. If you shoot an enemy directly, your shot disappears. If enemies shoot walls, their shots also bounce off of only one wall, so they follow the same mechanics. At least in general. I think there were some enemies that could shoot like super fast shots. Sorry about the chair creakiness. And those super fast shots would just like hit a wall and they wouldn't bounce. They just like explode against the wall. And then there are some other enemies that could shoot super fast shots that could bounce off of two walls. And these are kind of like these sort of sniper tanks. And that was kind of the idea that I had for this rebounding shot item. So essentially what we're going to have is like a regular shot that doesn't bounce twice and it goes a lot slower. This one will be like the super fast one that bounces off like two walls, that kind of thing. Maybe this one won't be able to hurt you if you accidentally hit yourself with it. I kind of like the idea of having like the upgraded weapons not actually do damage to you. Like in We Play Tanks, you could like shoot yourself by shooting a wall and then running into the bullet after it rebounded. Yeah, I think that I might keep that mechanic. I'm not entirely sure. Enemies would also be subject to that as well, so if an enemy shoots another enemy, then they can destroy each other. And it did work like that in the original We Play Tanks, I think? Actually, I'm not sure. I can't remember if there was friendly fire in that game. I'm pretty sure there was friendly fire in which you could like shoot your own teammates, so I think enemies could shoot each other. And I know for sure, like, if an enemy laid down like mines and another tank ran into it, yeah, I'm almost certain there was friendly fire there. So yeah, I'm not entirely decided on how friendly fire should work, if there is going to be any, but yeah, it's certainly something to think about. What else? I added some extra conditions for how I want other weapons to work. So this pinpoint strike weapon, I decided that I want it to have a very delayed startup. So if there's an enemy on the other side of like a wall, you can hit them, and that's where it would be useful. Otherwise, like out in the open, it'll be faster to use a different weapon rather than to use this pinpoint strike. I don't know. I felt like that was a better way of maybe balancing it. That way, in certain situations, it's better to just use like your regular shots instead of this pinpoint strike thing. So yeah, that's how I've decided to balance this. At least for now. I haven't really given much thought to the other things. See, so some of these seem really crazy overpowered compared to other weapons, considering how We Play Tanks, I guess, played. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how I decide to alter these items. The bullet shield. This is the one that I thought was a really cool idea, where you like click once and then you get a shield around you, and if you click again in a direction, it'll fire off the bullets towards that direction, but kind of like in a stream. So that weapon is still pretty much unchanged, but in an environment where you don't really have rapid fire, I was thinking that this would be the only weapon that gives you that sort of automatic fire type thing. So you have to fully charge up first. by clicking once to bring up the shield, and then once you click a second time, that's when you're able to fire. But only when a bullet is like reaches that point. So if my character was like, I don't know, here, and I clicked somewhere over here where my cursor is, then only like a line would be drawn between the cursor and this S, and any bullets traveling around have to reach. They have to touch that line, intersecting, and once they hit that line, that's when the bullets will be fired off in this direction. So if an enemy like runs into you and they take out some of the bullets, and you have like a gappy shield, then when you fire, the bullets are gonna. If the bullet's here and you clicked over here and it's circling around counterclockwise, then it has to go all the way around before it'll actually fire. So that's how I'm choosing to balance this weapon. I didn't really specify that very well here, but that's kind of what I want to do with it. Now it's documented because I just said it out loud. About this erase shot, this is a new thing. So I was toying with some ideas. I figured that if I want to make the game fun or have like some fun items, I'm gonna have to play a little bit more risky with my item choices. By risky, I mean like potentially more error prone to like bugs and stuff like that, because you know when as soon as you start giving the player more freedom of movement, or they ability to like change their speed and you know, maybe change the way that physics behave with certain enemies, different interactions, that's when you start to introduce the potential for bugs. So like when you have the character able to do more than move at like a set speed within like a little pen, or you start giving like, I don't know, strangely shaped walls, and then like the ability to move fast. Maybe someone will find a way to clip through a wall, for example. In this example, I was thinking of playing with like a weapon where like enemies could maybe like shoot blocks at you, and that would be able to stop your shots, and also maybe push your character. But then what happens if your character gets pushed against a wall? Like maybe we'd have to add some logic for the character to get crushed, and make sure that there isn't any way that the character could abuse that and get pushed through the wall. Yeah, like stuff like that is always very difficult. But if there was such a weapon like that, I decided maybe I could do something similar for like the player. Like the player can also shoot blocks, but then I figured, I don't know, because then I had to like make so the enemies also behave certain ways when like a block hits them. Like, do they get pushed, or like what happens when they get hit by a block? And then I got the idea that maybe instead of, you know, having like a physics block being like pushed at an enemy, instead of actual real blocks, we could just, you know, do something that's somewhat similar. And then I got this idea like, well, if a block was like, or like if I was shooting a wall at an enemy, what do I think would happen? If the enemy was shooting at me, it would block their shots, right? So that got me thinking, well, maybe I could just shoot something that's kind of like a wall, but isn't a wall. So it would pass through enemies. It doesn't hurt them at all. But if they happen to be shooting and it hits the wall, then their shot will be erased by that quote-unquote wall. It's not really a wall anymore. So then I decided, okay, well, maybe we could have like some sort of erase shot. This could be like sort of like an alternative to the bullet shield. Whereas the bullet shield just has like a circular, like passive defense mechanism, and the erase shot would be more of an like active defense mechanism, where if a bullet is coming towards you, you can like shoot a shot directly at that bullet to stop it immediately, or you can you know, lead your shot a little bit beforehand if you predict that it's going to come that way. And this could be nice for like, I don't know, plugging up like a stream of bullets coming out of like a turret. You could fire sort of up at an angle and then kind of sneak through. I feel like that would be an interesting way that this could be used for like progression. And also, it'd be a lot better at taking care of, say, like rapid fire shots. So I was thinking like some enemies could do like a burst fire towards your character, and they can maybe shoot like, I don't know, 5 shots in a row, in rapid succession. And if you had a bullet shield, maybe some of those shots might be able to sneak through, right? Or they like penetrate, or remove most of your shield, that kind of thing. And you wouldn't really want that. So in those kinds of cases, like the erase shot would probably be a lot better, because you could just like fire back along that same line and just erase all those shots from the burst. So yeah, there's different applications I can think of for where this would be useful and how it could help. But yeah, it will be like a non-lethal type of shot. I think it has some pretty interesting implications, but yeah, they won't be realized until I actually, implement a proper game. And the last thing that I added here was the power vacuum, and the power vacuum is, well, it's the character that I'm going to have the player be is really going to be like a sort of a combat Roomba. Yes, it's a combat Roomba where you can, where essentially it can like shoot bullets, and that's what these that's where all the other more weapony type shots come from. But I was thinking, well, if I'm gonna have like a combat Roomba, I should also utilize its other function, which is, being a vacuum. So we're gonna have like a power vacuum type thing where this idea comes from the idea of maybe like having a grapple. In this kind of game, you don't typically grapple enemies, but maybe you could use this to like grab an enemy nearby within like a set distance. This might be able to work through enemy shields, for example, and you could then launch them in whatever direction you want. And what I was thinking was, this could be a nice sort of like alternative item for certain rooms. Like maybe there's like a fire enemy somewhere and you need to burn something. You could like pick up the fire enemy with the vacuum and then like toss them at the thing that needs to be burned, and that would burn it. It would be an alternative to if I had some kind of fire weapon that was required to get through there normally. So yeah, there could be some rooms where it's the only way through, but I kind of like the idea of having it as like a, hey, if you have this item, you can now access places that you would normally maybe need another item to access. So it's sort of like one of those alternate option type items, and I think it's really cool when you have situations where you can use either one item or the other. It makes you have to think more about routing. Anything that can help mix up routing decisions, I think, is definitely going to be helpful. So this is something that I really want to add as like a sort of more cool weapon. Again, more along the lines of this, where I was thinking of stuff that could change up gameplay, might introduce more bugs, but hey, it would make the game more fun. This is definitely one of those kinds of elements that I feel would give the character some more abilities that kind of stand out, and just add fun. The whole point of playing the game is to have fun, right? Like that's why people play games. Well, that's not necessarily the reason why people play all games, but most games, I think, people want to play them for fun. So unless it's one of those like art experiences, then yeah. So anyway, that's enough rambling about stuff that I've changed here. I've got a much better idea of how I want to implement the actual gameplay now. So we're probably gonna just continue plugging away at this stuff until I get to a point where I actually want to implement the play state. That's when these ideas will start actually coming to fruition. So that'll be really cool once we get there. I think when I get there, I'm first going to just start off with like a toy game where I have like the character. I start implementing all the actual like physics and stuff, like collisions, essentially, making sure that the collisions work properly. And after all that stuff is sorted out, then we can actually start, designing levels. And it is kind of tempting to actually create some sort of level editor, because if you have like a level editor, that would just make things so much easier, especially like a visual level editor. I don't know if that's something that's planned for like the the UI game engine. I know that there's a separate interface for Amethyst as like a separate project that you can download and use that to try and implement your games, but I prefer to use the code, so I might just roll my own sort of level editor, and it won't be something that I would specifically use. It would probably be like an actual level editor that the player could use as well, you know, if they want to make their own maps and create their own logics and stuff. I'm definitely thinking of giving some more freedom in that area, because obviously in the existing randomizers, you're typically just you're stuck playing like some variant of the game that someone made. You don't really have much choice over how it is edited exactly, unless you're, you know, into, I guess, ROM hacking and stuff. So yeah, giving the player the option to actually have sort of like a level editor and be able to share their levels and seeds and stuff like that, I feel like it would give a much more interesting experience. So yeah, that's kind of the plan for the future of this game. I'm not sure if that's something I will do for Mini-rando, but for whatever I make that builds off of this. Because I do plan on going further than just implementing Mini-rando and saying, oh, that's it. That's the entire game. Because I do want to explore the idea of, you know, more interactive multiplayer modes and stuff like that, and adding more cooperative gameplay, making races less easy to cheat, that kind of thing. Because there's a lot of problems with the existing randomizer format that could be addressed by a game, like a standalone game, and I do want to explore that potential before I move on to other projects. But yeah, I probably will still run side projects from time to time, like what I've been doing with the music XML stuff, which I still haven't cleaned up yet properly, mostly because I don't really know of a good approach for that. But yeah. Anyway, just I said enough rambling earlier, but I'm still rambling. So last time we did this custom game stuff with the state dispatcher. Yeah, that's right. And if I recall correctly, I did some research about entities and deleting entities. You could do it from a system, I believe, or you can, as long as you have access to the world. Yeah, if you do it from a system, or if you have access to the world, you are able to just get a entities component, I guess, or entities storage, and then just call like entities.delete, and then pass in an entity. And that seems to be what I would want to do, but I'm not entirely sure. That's all I... actually, I think there's a couple problems. We want to do that on a transition. We don't want to do that anywhere else, really. So if I want to delete all entities from main menu, when I transition from main menu to, say, custom game, I want to make sure that, yes. I want to make sure that I actually have access to the world here. Which means I'm probably going to have to change the signature of get transfer ID, because, like, how do you know when you're going to do the state transition otherwise, right? Like, this is the sum total of all logic that handles what happens when you want to do a state transition. It's in this, like, specific branch of this match, which is nested within this other match out here. So the only real way of, I guess, fixing that is to actually pass in the world, and then from here I would be able to pull out the entities and start deleting them and stuff. It's the only thing I can think of. And I could just have like a general delete entities trait that each state would implement, and then I could just call like entities delete, give it the world and the entities, and it would just go through them all and delete them all. That is certainly quite tempting, and I kind of do want to do something like that, but first things first, we need to actually be able to, indicate, hey, delete stuff before you switch to a new game state. Actually, do I want to do that? I'm not entirely sure, because I'm doing a push. But, yeah, I do have to, I'm not sure if I want to delete the entities, then. I might want to just hide them. I could add, a visibility flag instead. That would work. That would make sense. Very tempting. Yeah, that's really... That I think that might make more sense. Rather than deleting them and then having to recreate them somehow. Okay. Sure. Why not make them not visible then? Is there a way I can toggle the visibility of buttons? Or, these UI elements? These entities? Because I don't really know how you do that. Because right here it creates a bunch of stuff. I guess the transform. If I have access to the transform, I probably can modify the state of its visibility. Let's go take a look at UI transform then. And to do that, it's probably easier if I just go like this. UI transform. And where would that be defined? Probably under UI, actually. Well, so only 13 results, that's not that many. I thought it'd be a lot more, so I was kind of hesitant to continue, but... yeah, if there's only 13, I can probably easily find it somewhere. And for all I know, it's just a type alias, so... it might not even matter. Where is it defined? It's not defined here. It's not defined in those first results that I saw here, as far as I can tell. It's under transform? Transform, UI transform. Okay. Well, that's weird. Probably somewhere in here then. Oh yeah, here it is. Surprised it didn't show up earlier. It's weird. So UI transform. Identifier. Help you distinguish UI elements. Yep, okay. I don't want to do the thing where you put the thing outside of the room. That seems kind of dumb. I've always thought that was like the really hacky way of, hiding elements. I'm not really sure that this is the best way of hiding elements either, to be fair. Adding like a flag for visibility. What I've seen some people talk about is something called spaces, and supposedly that can be quite useful for making sure that certain things are hidden and certain things aren't, or like organizing it at the very least. But I was kind of hoping that the transform itself would have some kind of like visibility flags. I could just, flip that and hide it. And since we don't, I'm not really sure what I would do instead. Yeah, we don't really have a really, I guess, good way of hiding stuff. I could just delete the entity, but then I'd have to recreate it when I come back. So, although it might get recreated once I pop the state anyway, I don't know. Let's try deleting first and see what happens, and if that I find that sucks, then I guess we're just going to have to try and find some way to hide it and then unhide it once we hit the back button. So I guess first thing I should do is get the world here. And in button trans, it should be simple enough. I should be able to just... because this is being called by this. And this does have access to the world. And it's an immutable reference to the world too, so I'm probably not going to be... Well, that's not true. I would need a mutable reference to the world if I wanted to... If I wanted to actually delete entities, right? I think I would have to mutate the world then. Okay, that kind of sucks. Because you can't get a write storage from world unless it's mutable. So let's go find world. Where are you, world? Hello world. No. Well, maybe. Maybe the hello world is actually more than just a hello world. Maybe it's a pun on world. And this is actually secretly the section about the world. Okay, no, this is just a dummy example. Well, it was worth a shot. So storage, write storage, components. Is that in here anywhere? I kind of figured that this wouldn't be helpful. Dang it, how do I get a write storage? Because this is world.read storage. If I world.write storage, I'm pretty sure I will need a mutable world. You know what, I could just try it. See what happens. I don't think it'll succeed. But it's worth a shot. Alright, so now I've changed the signature, so that changes everything, pretty much. It doesn't have to be a used parameter. What? Okay, that was just a weird error that was kind of stuck there. So this one gets a world, which is reference to world. But this one might not use it, so we're going to put an underscore in front of it to indicate to the compiler that we aren't using this variable. And then, what was the last state I had? It was play. Yeah, this one. This one doesn't implement any traits yet, so I guess we're okay. Cool. So you are going to actually do stuff before you return a transition. Now I have to wonder, like, if you made a functional, I guess, reactive engine, I wonder how much slower it would be. If it even would be slower, actually. I guess it depends on the implementation, of course, but, you know. I guess it's hard to really compare. So, oh wait, I don't need to... Huh, this can be an immutable reference. That's good to know. I think I do need to turbofish this, though, so... Let me go find where I used read storage. Yeah, I do have to turbofish this, otherwise I won't be able to get... I won't be able to, like, mutate And what did I want? Entities, I think? Or is it... Wait, isn't it world.entities? I'm pretty sure that there's actually just a world.entities. I'm not entirely sure anymore. But it should work roughly the same way. And now I can't remember where it was. I thought I had documentation, or like the book. Was it this? It was this, okay. It was under... Oh god, I can't remember. Was it world? Somewhere it said how to delete entities. Here we go. World.entities gets all the entities, and if you want to delete entities, you can just go... Oh, you can go world.delete all. Wow. Fascinating. Is world.delete all... That can't possibly require an immutable reference. That must be mutable, right? Like, there's no way. Well, that's interesting. If I have like a vector of entities, I can just delete entities. Huh. I could have sworn there was another way to delete entities, but that's what it says here. Did they update the book and I just suddenly have like this version? Entities are lazily deleted, which means deletion only happens at the end of the frame. Oh, okay, cool. Nice. I'm glad that they warned you about that. But I could have sworn there was a way to delete entities. Or was it here? I'm starting to think they actually updated the book, and this is the most up-to-date version. I could be wrong, but there was like a one-line like delete the entities. Oh, you know, here it is. Removing an entity. Entities, not delete entity. Oh yeah, this is specific to the system, but if you have the world, you can just go world.delete all. You can destroy the world! Everyone in it. Oh, that is required. Ah, poop. So I do need a mutable reference. I guess that's okay. I don't think I particularly require it to be immutable for any reason. It is a little bit annoying that I have to do that. It's ever so slightly annoying, but it's fine. I'll stop being a big baby now and just do it. Yeah, this one requires an immutable reference, and I'm pretty sure that this is fine as long as we pass... What? Oh, right. You need to actually pass in the world here. Do you think JoJo fans really like Amethyst? Cannot borrow immutable local variable world as mutable. Really? Is it immutable? Oh, it is. Okay, well, that was dumb. If I do that, we're okay. It's probably not going to be okay with this. I have a feeling that there's going to be some problem somewhere along the way to do with borrowing, but I guess we'll see. Maybe not. It is taking a while to compile. A while to compile. Silly rhyme. What are you talking about? What? Whoa. Type's different in... Oh, wait. I done goofed. I forgot to update the other states. And in that case, yeah, we need to do the same thing here. Oops. How about play? Does play require... I don't think so. We're good. Ah, yes. It's immutably borrowed here, and then it isn't borrowed anymore. Or, well, yeah. Then I require a mutable borrow in here, and that kind of sucks. Is there a way I can avoid that at all? I have this immutable borrow, and then this guy wants to mutably borrow. I guess if I drop this borrow first somehow, then we're okay. So if I did this, then the O button, because I'm pretty sure this should be okay, right? I don't need an immutable borrow of the world anymore at this point. No, I still do. Shoot. Wait, what? Did I change something I totally didn't need to, or is this another place I didn't notice? Oh no, it is the exact same place. Oh no. Huh. Okay, yeah, this might be a problem. How do I limit the scope of this borrow in particular? Or can I even? Because I think that I shouldn't need to have the world borrowed anymore after I've created this option, but then I'm not sure. Because we do have a borrowed UI transform here. So that might be why it's complaining about that. And I hope it isn't, but... I've dealt with stuff like this before, I'm pretty sure. How did I solve it last time, though? Was it like you just do something like this, and then instead of having that, you can... I actually don't really remember at all. Oh, you can't do that? I thought you could. Because this is like a block, and then this would... Huh. I did not know that. Oh, because I need a semicolon at the end, right? Outside. Duh. Yeah, no, of course that doesn't work. Okay, so I think this is actually problematic, and I think I'm not going to be able to do this. Is it because of this button? Like I can't just like drop the borrow of world? Wait, how does this work again? I'm pretty sure that it works like this is being immutably borrowed somewhere. And so then I can't do a mutable borrow here. I can't pass a mutable borrow in. It just doesn't work. Same as if this was a mutable borrow, I wouldn't be able to pass the second one here. I guess because there's a chance I could mutate it and then read. But I'm not going to do that. So if I can somehow limit it and tell it, hey, I'm not going to read from this after you've mutated this. Like I'm only reading this once beforehand, and then I'm going to do the mutation. I think that would be okay.